Nobody expected Elon Musk to accept a rap battle challenge from a 16-year-old kid from East Austin. And nobody expected what happened next to change thousands of lives forever. It started as a joke that went viral. It ended as proof that sometimes the most unlikely moments create the most extraordinary futures. This is the true story of how one teenager's desperate act of courage led to a movement that would reach from the streets of Austin all the way to the stars. The lights were bright and hot inside the Austin Convention Center. Marcus Johnson wiped his sweaty palms on his jeans as he looked at the huge crowd. Everyone was here to see Elon Musk talk about his new brain chip project. Marcus wasn't supposed to be here at all. He had snuck past the security guards by following a group of college students. His beat-up sneakers squeaked on the shiny floor as he found a spot in the back. The 16-year-old had never seen so many important-looking people in one place. On stage, Elon Musk stood behind a big screen showing pictures of tiny computer chips. He was talking about how these chips could help people who couldn't walk or see. Marcus tried to listen, but his mind kept going back to his grandmother Rosa at home. She was probably making dinner with whatever food they had left. "The Neuralink device will change everything," Elon said into his microphone. "We can help people control computers with just their thoughts." Marcus had watched every SpaceX rocket launch on his phone. His dad used to say that Elon was a real-life superhero. That was before the car crash 2 years ago. Before everything changed. The talk was almost over. People started raising their hands to ask questions. This was Marcus's chance. His heart beat fast like the drums in his favorite rap songs. He had practiced this moment 100 times in his head. Before he could think too much about it, Marcus pushed through the crowd. People gave him dirty looks as he squeezed past them. A security guard noticed him and started walking his way. "Excuse me," Marcus called out loud. His voice cracked a little. "Mr. Musk!" The whole room turned to look at him. Hundreds of eyes stared at the skinny black kid in the old clothes. Marcus felt his face get hot, but he kept going. Elon stopped talking and looked down at him. "Yes?" Marcus grabbed the microphone from a surprised woman in the front row. His hands were shaking, but his voice got stronger. "I challenge you to a rap battle," he said. The crowd laughed. Some people thought it was funny. Others looked annoyed. The security guard was getting closer, but Marcus wasn't done. The words came pouring out like water from a broken pipe. "I know you think I'm just some kid from the hood, but you don't know my story. You don't know what I've been through. My dad always said you were changing the world. Well, I want to change mine too." The laughter stopped. The room got quiet. Elon put down his clicker and walked to the edge of the stage. He looked right at Marcus with those sharp eyes that had been on magazine covers. "You're serious," Elon said. It wasn't a question. "Dead serious," Marcus replied. "Tomorrow night, the underground club on East 6th Street. Just you, me, and whoever wants to watch." Marcus knew he was being crazy. This was Elon Musk, the man who built rockets and electric cars. What was he doing? But something had been building up inside him for months, ever since his grandmother started skipping her diabetes medicine to pay the rent. Ever since he realized his dreams of college were probably just dreams. The security guard reached for Marcus's arm, but Elon held up his hand. "Wait," Elon said. The whole convention center was silent now. Even the camera crews had stopped what they were doing. Elon was quiet for a long moment. He seemed to be thinking about something important. Finally, he smiled, just a little bit. "You know what? I accept." The crowd exploded. People were shouting and taking pictures with their phones. Marcus couldn't believe what just happened. "Tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, Elon said into his microphone so everyone could hear. "The Underground Club, Marcus felt like he was floating. This was really happening. He was going to rap battle Elon Musk. As the security guard finally reached him, Marcus leaned toward the stage. He had to tell Elon something important. Something that had been eating at him every day since his parents died. He cupped his hands around his mouth and whispered just loud enough for Elon to hear. "My dad always said you were his hero. He taught physics and always showed your rocket launches to his students." Marcus watched Elon's face change completely. The smile disappeared. Something serious and sad crossed his eyes. "What was your father's name?" Elon asked quietly. "David Johnson," Marcus said. Elon stood very still for a moment. Then he nodded slowly. "I'll see you tomorrow night, Marcus," he said. As security led Marcus away, he wondered why Elon looked like he had just seen a ghost. The security guard walked Marcus to the parking lot, but didn't arrest him. "That was either really brave or really stupid, kid," the man said with a small smile before letting him go. Marcus walked to the bus stop, his mind racing. He kept seeing Elon's face when he mentioned his dad's name. Something was there. Something important. The old city bus squeaked and rattled as it carried Marcus back to East Austin. He pressed his face against the dirty window and watched the fancy downtown buildings turn into small houses and corner stores. This was his world, a world away from convention centers and billionaires. Marcus got off at his stop and walked down the cracked sidewalk. Kids were playing in front yards while their parents sat on porches. Everyone knew everyone here. When his parents died, the whole neighborhood had brought food and helped with the funeral costs. He opened the door to the small apartment he shared with his grandmother, Rosa. The smell of beans and rice filled the air. Rosa was in the kitchen, stirring a pot with one hand and holding her phone with the other. "Mijo, where have you been?" she asked, without looking up. She was talking in Spanish to her sister in San Antonio. "I was worried." "Just out, Grandma. Nothing bad." Marcus didn't tell her about the convention center. Rosa worked at a grocery store during the day and cleaned offices at night. She was always tired, and he didn't want to worry her more. He went to his small bedroom and sat on his bed. The walls were covered with pictures of rockets and rappers. His dad had given him most of the space posters before he died. David Johnson had been a high school physics teacher who loved showing his students how the universe worked. Marcus picked up a framed photo from his nightstand. It showed his whole family at a SpaceX launch viewing party 2 years ago. His dad had organized it for his students and their families. They drove all the way to the coast to watch a Falcon Heavy rocket launch. "Look at that, Marcus," his dad had said, pointing at the rocket climbing into the sky. "That man Elon Musk is showing us that anything is possible. Don't ever forget that." Marcus's mom, Maria, had laughed and taken pictures of everyone cheering. She taught second grade and always said education could change the world. Both his parents believed that kids from East Austin could do anything if they had the right chances. That was 6 months before the drunk driver ran the red light. Marcus lay back on his bed and closed his eyes. After his parents died, he stopped caring about school. His grades dropped. He got in fights. The only thing that helped was rap music. He could put all his anger and sadness into words that rhymed. At first, he just wrote lyrics in notebooks. Then he started performing at open mic nights at the community center. People said he had talent. Some even gave him money after his performances. Every dollar helped Rosa pay for food and medicine. His grandmother's diabetes was getting worse. Last month, she had to choose between her pills and the electric bill. She chose the electric bill. Marcus found her insulin in the trash and made her promise to take it. But he knew money was running out. Rosa called him for dinner. They sat at the small table and ate beans, rice, and tortillas. It was the same meal they had most nights, but Rosa always made it taste good. "How was school today?" she asked. Marcus had skipped school to go to the convention center, but he just nodded. "Fine, Grandma." After dinner, Marcus helped wash dishes. Rosa sat down heavily in her old chair and turned on the Spanish news. She looked tired, older than her 78 years. Marcus went back to his room and pulled out his notebook. He started writing new lyrics, thinking about what happened today. Words about dreams and challenges and boys from the hood who dared to speak up. His phone buzzed. It was a text from his friend Phoenix, a 25-year-old female rapper who had been like a big sister to him since his parents died. "Saw the video of you challenging Elon Musk. You crazy? Call me." Marcus had forgotten about all the phones recording at the convention center. He quickly searched online and found videos of his challenge already going viral. People were sharing it everywhere with captions like, "Kid challenges Elon Musk to rap battle," and "This is why I love Austin." Some comments were mean, calling him names and saying he was just looking for attention. But others were supportive. People were saying he was brave and that they couldn't wait to see what happened. Marcus felt excited and scared at the same time. Tomorrow night, he would be on stage with one of the most famous people in the world. But why had Elon looked so strange when he heard his dad's name? He was about to call Phoenix when the doorbell rang. Rosa was already asleep in her chair, so Marcus went to answer it. A delivery man stood outside with a small package. "Marcus Johnson? That's me. This is for you. No return address." Marcus took the package and closed the door. It was light, about the size of a book. There was no label except his name and address, written in neat handwriting. Inside was a plain manila envelope with a note attached that said, "For tomorrow." Marcus opened the envelope carefully. Inside was something that would change everything. It was a single sheet of paper with SpaceX letterhead at the top. But it wasn't new. The paper was slightly yellow and had a small coffee stain in one corner. The date at the top said March 15th, 2022. 2 years ago. The letter was addressed to his father. "Dear Mr. David Johnson," it began, "thank you for your application to the SpaceX Educational Outreach Program. Your proposal to bring hands-on rocket science to underserved high schools is exactly what we've been looking for." Marcus's hands started shaking. His father had applied to work with SpaceX. He had never known about this. The letter continued. "We would like to invite you to our Austin facility for an interview. Your passion for teaching and your ideas about making space science accessible to all students impressed our entire team. We believe teachers like you are the key to inspiring the next generation of engineers and astronauts." At the bottom, there was a signature. Elon Musk's signature. Marcus read the letter 3 times before it really sank in. His dad had been accepted into a SpaceX program. But this letter was dated just 2 days before the car accident. His father had died before he ever got to see it. Marcus sank onto his bed, the letter still in his hands. Everything made sense now. That's why Elon had looked shocked when he heard his dad's name. Somehow, Elon remembered David Johnson. His phone buzzed with another text from Phoenix. "Seriously, call me now. The whole city is talking about tomorrow night." But Marcus couldn't call anyone yet. He needed time to think about what this meant. Meanwhile, across town at the SpaceX facility, Elon Musk sat in his office staring at his computer screen. He had been trying to work on rocket designs, but he couldn't focus. The name David Johnson kept echoing in his mind. Elon opened his email and searched for David Johnson teacher application. There it was, the file he had saved 2 years ago. David's application had been so well written and heartfelt. The man had wanted to create a program where low-income students could build and launch their own model rockets. He had written about kids who had given up on school because they couldn't see how math and science connected to their lives. These students need to see that the universe is not something that happens to other people, David had written. They need to know that space exploration belongs to all of us. Elon remembered being moved by those words. He had personally approved David's application and asked his assistant to send the acceptance letter. But then the news of the car accident had reached him. He had kept the file, planning to maybe contact the family later. But time passed, and other emergencies came up, and he never did. Now David's son was challenging him to a rap battle. Life had a strange way of bringing things full circle. Elon picked up his phone and called his assistant, Jennifer. "I need you to prepare something special for tomorrow night," he said. "It's bigger than just a rap battle." Back in East Austin, word about the rap battle was spreading fast. Phoenix had posted about it on all her social media accounts. Local news stations were calling it the most unusual challenge in Austin history. The underground club's owner, Tommy Martinez, couldn't believe what was happening. His small venue was about to host the most famous person in the world. He had reporters calling nonstop, asking about tickets and interviews. "This is crazy, man," he told his bartender. "We've never had more than 50 people in here at once. Now everyone wants to come." Phoenix finally reached Marcus by showing up at his apartment. "Boy, you better open this door," she called through the screen. Marcus, Letty, her in. Phoenix was a short woman with bright purple hair and arms covered in tattoos. She had been performing rap and hip-hop in Austin for 8 years. When Marcus first started coming to open mic nights, she had taken him under her wing. "What were you thinking?" she asked, but she was smiling. "Do you know how many people are talking about this?" Marcus showed her the letter from SpaceX. Phoenix read it twice, her eyes getting wider. "Marcus, this changes everything. Your father was going to work with Elon Musk?" "I guess so. I never knew he applied for anything like this." Phoenix sat down next to him. "Your dad always talked about space stuff at your performances. Remember? He would tell everyone that his son was going to be an engineer someday." Marcus did remember. Even after he started struggling in school, his dad never stopped believing in him. David would sit in the back of the community center during open mic nights, clapping the loudest whenever Marcus performed. "So, what are you going to rap about? Tomorrow?" Phoenix asked. Marcus had been thinking about that all day. He could go the traditional route and try to make fun of Elon or show off his lyrical skills. But the letter changed things. This wasn't just about proving himself anymore. "I think," Marcus said slowly, "I want to rap about dreams. About kids like me who want to reach for the stars but don't know how." Phoenix nodded. "That's good. That's real. But you better practice. The whole world is going to be watching." They spent the next hour working on lyrics together. Phoenix helped Marcus find the right rhythm and flow. They talked about his life, his losses, and his hopes for the future. "Don't try to be someone else tomorrow," Phoenix advised as she got ready to leave. "Be Marcus Johnson. Be the kid whose dad believed in space exploration and whose grandma works 2 jobs to keep food on the table. That's your power." After Phoenix left, Marcus sat at his small desk and wrote until midnight. He wrote about Rose's tired hands and his parents' dreams. He wrote about kids in East Austin who were smart enough to build rockets but never got the chance. He wrote about believing in something bigger than yourself, even when everything seems hopeless. In his bed that night, Marcus stared at the ceiling. Tomorrow, he would stand on stage with Elon Musk. But now he knew it wasn't really about a rap battle. It was about finishing something his father had started. He fell asleep holding the SpaceX letter, wondering what his dad would say about what was about to happen. Across town, Elon was also having trouble sleeping. He kept thinking about missed opportunities and second chances. Tomorrow night was going to be about more than anyone expected. He made one more phone call before bed. "I need you to prepare something special for tomorrow night. It's time to make things right." The next morning, Marcus woke up to his phone buzzing non-stop. Social media had exploded overnight. Videos of his challenge to Elon were everywhere. The story had been picked up by news stations across the country. Local teen challenges. Elon Musk to rap battle, read the headline on the Austin American-Statesman website. Below, it was a picture of Marcus at the microphone, looking nervous but determined. Rosa was making breakfast when Marcus came to the kitchen. She had the Spanish news on TV, and they were talking about the rap battle too. "Mijo, why didn't you tell me about this?" she asked, pointing at the television. "The whole neighborhood is calling to ask if it's really you." Marcus felt bad for not telling her sooner. "I'm sorry, Grandma. I didn't want you to worry." Rosa turned off the stove and sat down at the table. She looked tired, but there was something proud in her eyes, too. "Your father would be so excited," she said softly. "He always said you had something special inside you." "Grandma, there's something else." Marcus showed her the SpaceX letter. Dad was accepted into a program with Elon Musk. He never got to see this. Rosa read the letter carefully. Tears started forming in her eyes. David always talked about getting his students interested in science. He said kids from our neighborhood were just as smart as kids from anywhere else. She wiped her eyes with her apron. "He would want you to do this rap battle. He would want you to speak up for all the kids who don't usually get heard." Marcus hugged his grandmother. "Will you come tonight?" "I wouldn't miss it for anything," Rosa said. "But first, you need to eat. You can't rap on an empty stomach." Across town, the underground club was in chaos. Owner Tommy Martinez had never dealt with anything like this. News vans were parked outside. Reporters kept trying to get inside to set up cameras. His phone rang every few minutes with people wanting tickets. "We only hold about 100 people," he told a reporter from CNN. "But it looks like the whole city wants to come." Tommy had known Marcus for 2 years. The kid came to open mic nights and always brought good energy. He was polite, helped clean up after shows, and never caused trouble. Tommy wanted to make sure Marcus felt comfortable tonight. He called Marcus around noon. "Hey, kid, how are you holding up?" Nervous, Marcus admitted. "I never thought this would get so big. Listen, I'm going to make sure you have everything you need tonight. You just focus on your performance." At the SpaceX facility, Elon was having his own busy day. His engineers kept trying to talk to him about rocket designs, but his mind was elsewhere. He had Jennifer clear his afternoon schedule so he could think about tonight. Elon walked around the facility, looking at the rockets and satellites being built. He thought about David Johnson's application and how the man had wanted to inspire kids to reach for the stars. Tonight was a chance to honor that dream. Around 3 p.m., a black SUV pulled up to Marcus's apartment. Jennifer, Elon's assistant, got out carrying a large bag. "Marcus Johnson?" she asked when he answered the door. "Yes, ma'am. Mr. Musk asked me to bring you this." She handed him the bag. "He said you should wear it tonight if you want to." Inside the bag was a custom-made hoodie. It was black with silver writing that said David's Dream across the front. On the back, It showed a rocket launching into a star-filled sky. Marcus stared at the hoodie. Elon had made this for him, for his father. "There's also this," Jennifer said, handing him an envelope. "Mr. Musk wanted you to read it before tonight." After Jennifer left, Marcus opened the envelope. Inside was a handwritten note from Elon. "Marcus, your father's application moved me 2 years ago. His vision of bringing space science to every student, regardless of their background, is exactly what the world needs. Tonight isn't about a rap battle. It's about continuing his work. I hope you'll help me do that." Elon, Marcus put on the hoodie. It fit perfectly. He looked at himself in the mirror and saw his father's eyes looking back at him. Phoenix arrived at 5 p.m. to help Marcus get ready. She brought her 12-year-old daughter, Zoe, with her. "I want Zoe to see this," Phoenix explained. "She needs to know that kids like us can stand up and speak our truth." Zoe was shy but smart. She loved math and science, just like Marcus's father had hoped his students would. She looked up to Marcus like a big brother. "Are you scared?" Zoe asked him. "Yeah," Marcus said honestly. "But sometimes you have to do scary things if they're important." By 6 p.m., the crowd outside the underground was huge. People had been waiting, in line since morning. Local hip-hop artists, college students, tech workers, and families from East Austin all wanted to see what would happen. The news crews had set up across the street. Reporters were interviewing people in line, asking what they expected from tonight. "This kid has guts," said one man. "It takes courage to challenge someone like Elon Musk. I just hope he doesn't embarrass himself," said another person. "Elon is really smart." But most people were supportive. They understood that Marcus represented something bigger than just one teenager. He represented every kid who had big dreams, but didn't always get big chances. At 7 p.m., a simple black Tesla pulled up behind the club. Elon got out alone, no bodyguards or assistants. He wore jeans and a plain t-shirt. Some people recognized him and started taking pictures, but he walked calmly to the back entrance. Inside the club, Marcus was warming up his voice with Phoenix. Rosa sat nearby, wearing her best dress and looking proud, despite her nervousness. "Remember what we practiced," Phoenix told Marcus. "Don't try to battle him like he's your enemy. Speak from your heart. Tell your truth." At 7:45, Tommy came backstage. "It's time. The whole place is packed. People are standing in the street outside." Marcus took a deep breath. He touched the David's Dream hoodie and thought about his father. Before they went on stage, Elon appeared backstage. He walked straight to Marcus. "Are you ready for this?" Elon asked. "I think so," Marcus replied. Elon looked at Rosa and Phoenix, then back at Marcus. "Your father would be proud of you. What I'm about to do might seem crazy, but trust me." Marcus looked confused. "What do you mean?" Elon pulled out his phone and made a quick call. "We're ready," he said into the phone. "Ready for what?" Marcus asked. But Elon just smiled mysteriously. "You'll see. Let's go change some lives." As they walked toward the stage, Marcus could hear the crowd getting louder. The energy in the room was electric. People were chanting his name mixed with Elon's. This was it, the moment that would change everything. But Marcus still didn't know what Elon had planned. All he could do was trust that somehow his father's dream was about to come true. The crowd roared as Tommy stepped onto the small stage. The underground had never been this packed. People were squeezed shoulder to shoulder. Others watched from outside through the windows. "Ladies and gentlemen," Tommy announced into the microphone, "welcome to the most unusual night in Austin history." The cheering got even louder. Marcus could see his grandmother Rosa in the front row, sitting next to Phoenix and Zoe. Rosa had her hands pressed together like she was praying. "First up," Tommy continued, "representing East Austin and the next generation of dreamers, Marcus Johnson." Marcus walked onto the stage wearing the David's Dream hoodie. The lights were bright and hot, just like at the convention center yesterday. But this time felt different. This time, he belonged here. The crowd quieted down as Marcus took the microphone. He looked out at all the faces, young and old, rich and poor, all different colors and backgrounds. This was his neighborhood and the whole world watching at the same time. Marcus closed his eyes for a second and thought about his father. Then he began to rap. "They say a kid from the hood can't reach for the stars, but my daddy taught me different, showed me who we are." He pointed at the rockets flying high above, said, "Son, that's not just science, that's what dreams are made of." His voice was strong and clear. The crowd was completely silent, hanging on every word. "I lost my parents young, now it's just me and Grandma. She works 2 jobs just to keep food in our kitchen. Drama. But every night she tells me, 'Mijo, don't you quit. Your father's watching from heaven, and he believes in it.'" Marcus looked right at Rosa. She had tears in her eyes, but was smiling. "They say space exploration is for other people's kids, but I've been building rocket models since I learned what physics did. My dad was a teacher, tried to show the world the way, that every child deserves to dream about reaching past today." The crowd started nodding along to his rhythm. Some people had their phones out, recording every word. "I challenge Mr. Musk not to battle or to fight, but to remember that genius comes in every color, every sight. The next engineer could be sitting in my classroom, but they need someone to believe, to give their dreams some room." Marcus's voice cracked a little on the last line, thinking about all the kids in East Austin who were just as smart as anyone else, but never got the chance to show it. "So here I stand tonight, with my father's spirit strong, asking you to help me prove that we all belong. In the labs and launch pads, in the future we create, it's time to open doors and change someone's fate." Marcus finished his rap and stepped back. The crowd exploded in cheers. People were standing up, clapping and wiping their eyes. Even some of the news reporters looked moved. Tommy took the microphone back. "And now, the man who's changing the world one rocket at a time, Elon Musk." Elon walked onto the stage to thunderous applause. He looked calm, but Marcus could see something different in his eyes, something serious and determined. "Thank you," Elon said into the microphone. The crowd quieted down to listen. "I have to be honest, I've never done this before. But sometimes life puts you in situations where you have to step outside your comfort zone." He looked directly at Marcus. "Your father, David Johnson, sent me an application 2 years ago. It was one of the most passionate letters I've ever read about education and inspiring young people." The crowd murmured. They didn't know about this connection. "I approved his application immediately," Elon continued. "I wanted to work with him, to bring hands-on science education to students who don't usually get those opportunities. But David died before he could see my response." Marcus felt his throat get tight. Hearing Elon talk about his father in front of all these people made it feel real in a new way. "So tonight isn't really a rap battle," Elon said. "It's about finishing what David started." Elon took a deep breath and began his own rap. His rhythm wasn't as smooth as Marcus's, but his words were powerful. "I've built rockets and cars, sent missions to space, but the hardest challenge is changing this place. Not Mars or the moon, but right here on Earth, where brilliant kids don't know what their minds are worth." The crowd was surprised. Elon was actually pretty good at this. I've seen the data. The numbers don't lie. Too many bright stars never learn how to fly. Not because they can't, but because no one shows the path from the projects to where genius goes. Elon's voice got stronger as he continued. Marcus, your father saw something I forgot. That innovation comes from every neighborhood, every spot. The next great engineer might be sitting right here, but they need inspiration to overcome fear. Then Elon did something unexpected. Instead of competing against Marcus, he started weaving Marcus's dreams into his own lyrics. So let me tell you about a young man I know who lost his parents but refuses to let his dreams go. He studies rocket science while helping his grandma survive, keeping his father's vision of education alive. The crowd realized this wasn't a battle anymore. It was becoming something completely different. He doesn't need charity, he needs opportunity to show the world his mind and capability. Because the future of space exploration isn't just mine, it belongs to every kid who dares to cross that line. Marcus stood watching, amazed at what was happening. Elon was turning their rap battle into a tribute to his father and a call for change. David Johnson had a dream of reaching every child, of making rocket science accessible, making learning wild. Tonight, in this club, in front of all of you, I want to make sure that dream comes true. Elon stopped rapping and looked directly at Marcus. The whole room was silent, waiting to see what would happen next. Marcus, Elon said, his voice now normal, not rapping anymore. What I'm about to tell you is going to change your life. You ready? Marcus nodded, even though his heart was beating so fast he could barely think. Elon reached into his pocket and pulled out an envelope. It looked old and important. This is the acceptance letter I wrote to your father 2 years ago, the letter he never got to see. Marcus felt tears starting in his eyes. The crowd was completely quiet now. But before I give this to you, Elon continued, I need to tell you something else, something that's going to sound impossible. Marcus looked confused. The crowd held their breath. Your father was going to change everything, Marcus. Now you can finish what he started. Elon held up the envelope, and Marcus could see his father's name written on it in neat handwriting. The crowd waited to see what would happen next. This was the moment everything had been building toward. Elon handed Marcus the envelope with his father's name on it. Marcus's hands shook as he opened it carefully. Inside was a letter on SpaceX letterhead, but this one was different from the copy he had received yesterday. Read it out loud, Elon said gently. Everyone should hear this. Marcus unfolded the letter and began to read, his voice getting stronger with each word. Dear Mr. David Johnson, your application for the SpaceX Educational Outreach Program has been approved. But more than that, your vision has inspired us to do something bigger. Marcus paused, looking up at Elon with confusion. This wasn't the same letter he had seen before. Keep reading, Elon encouraged. We want to create a new program based entirely on your ideas. The David Johnson Space Education Initiative will bring hands-on rocket science to underserved schools across the country. We believe your approach could change how young people see their place in the universe. The crowd was completely silent. Even the reporters had stopped moving around. We would like you to lead this program and help us reach students who have never imagined themselves as future engineers or astronauts. Your salary will be $85,000 per year, with full benefits and funding for all educational materials. Marcus's voice cracked. That was more money than his family had ever dreamed of. Furthermore, we want to offer college scholarships to students in the program who show exceptional promise. We believe the next generation of space explorers is waiting in classrooms just like yours. Marcus looked out at Rosa, who was crying openly now. Phoenix had her arm around Zoe, and both of them were staring at the stage in amazement. The program will launch in September 2022. We cannot wait to work with you to inspire young minds and show them that space exploration belongs to everyone. Sincerely, Elon Musk, CEO, SpaceX. Marcus finished reading and looked up at Elon. My dad never saw this? He died 3 days before I could send it, Elon said sadly. I've kept this letter in my desk for 2 years, wondering what could have been. The crowd was starting to understand the full weight of what they were witnessing. This wasn't just about a rap battle anymore. This was about dreams that were cut short and the chance to make them real again. But here's what I realized. Yesterday, Elon continued, his voice carrying across the silent room. David Johnson's vision doesn't have to die with him. His son is standing right here. Marcus felt his knees get weak. What are you saying? I'm saying that I want to create the David Johnson Memorial Space Education Program. And I want you to be its first student. The crowd gasped. Several people started clapping, but Elon held up his hand. I'm not finished. Marcus, this program will include a full scholarship to any college you choose. It will cover all your living expenses, your grandmother's medical care, and give you a guaranteed internship at SpaceX. Marcus couldn't believe what he was hearing. Rosa stood up in the front row, her hand over her heart. But there's one more thing, Elon said. The program won't just be for you. We're going to start with 10 students from East Austin High School. Kids who have the intelligence and creativity to become engineers, but who have never been given the chance. The crowd erupted. People were cheering, crying, and hugging each other. News cameras were flashing everywhere. Marcus stood frozen on the stage. 2 days ago, he was just a kid worried about his grandmother's medicine. Now, Elon Musk was offering to change his entire life. Why? Marcus asked, his voice barely audible over the crowd noise. Why are you doing this? Elon stepped closer to him. Because your father was right. Genius exists everywhere. It's in every neighborhood, every school, every family struggling to get by. But potential doesn't matter if no one believes in it. He looked out at the crowd. David Johnson believed that space exploration should inspire every child, not just the privileged ones. Tonight, we start making that real. Marcus thought about his father's classroom, where David had shown rocket launches to students who had never imagined leaving their neighborhood, much less reaching for the stars. What would I have to do? Marcus asked. Finish high school with good grades, then go to college and study engineering or science. During summers, you'll work at SpaceX and help us design educational programs for other kids like you. Elon paused. But most importantly, you'll help us prove that inspiration and opportunity can change everything. Marcus looked at Rosa, who was nodding through her tears. He looked at Phoenix and Zoe, who were jumping up and down with excitement. He thought about all the kids in his neighborhood who were just as smart as him, but never got chances like this. There's just one thing, Marcus said. The crowd quieted down to hear what he would say. I want Phoenix's daughter Zoe to be in the program too, and I want us to pick the other kids ourselves, from our neighborhood. Kids who really need this chance. Elon smiled. Done? The crowd went completely wild. People were standing on chairs, screaming with joy. Some of the local kids in the audience were crying because they realized their lives might be about to change too. Marcus felt overwhelmed. In 2 days, he had gone from challenging Elon Musk as a joke to having his entire future transformed. But more than that, he had the chance to honor his father's memory by helping other kids reach for their dreams. "There's one more surprise," Elon said, pulling out his phone. "More?" Marcus asked, not sure how much more excitement he could handle. "Tomorrow morning, we're announcing the David Johnson Memorial Program at a press conference. And we're inviting every major tech company in Austin to join us. This is going to be bigger than just SpaceX." Marcus realized that his father's dream of inspiring underserved students was about to become a citywide movement. As the crowd continued celebrating, Marcus hugged Rosa, who had made it onto the stage. She whispered in his ear, "Your father is watching, mijo. He's so proud." Phoenix and Zoe joined them on stage, and soon they were all crying and laughing at the same time. But even in the middle of all this joy, Marcus knew the real work was just beginning. He had been given an incredible opportunity, but now he had to prove he deserved it. More importantly, he had to make sure other kids got the same chance. As the celebration continued around him, Marcus looked up at the ceiling and whispered, "We did it, Dad. We're going to change everything." The party at the Underground went on for hours. News crews interviewed Marcus, Rosa, and Phoenix. Local politicians showed up to shake hands and take pictures. Everyone wanted to be part of this amazing story. But by midnight, Marcus was exhausted. The adrenaline was wearing off, and the reality of what had just happened was sinking in. Elon had left an hour earlier, but not before giving Marcus his personal phone number. "Call me tomorrow," Elon had said. "We have a lot of planning to do." Now Marcus sat in the back of Phoenix's car with Rosa and Zoe as they drove home through the quiet streets of East Austin. The celebration was over, but the real work was about to begin. "Are you okay, mijo?" Rosa asked. She looked tired but happier than Marcus had seen her in years. "I think so," Marcus said. "It's just a lot to process." Zoe, who had been unusually quiet, finally spoke up. "Marcus, are you really going to help pick the kids for the program?" "Yeah, we all are," Marcus replied. "This has to be about more than just me." When they got home, Marcus sat on his bed and stared at the acceptance letter. Everything felt different now. The same small room, the same rocket posters on the walls, but his future had completely changed. His phone buzzed with a text from Elon. "Press conference tomorrow at 10 a.m. at SpaceX facility. Wear something nice. The world is watching." Marcus looked at his closet. He owned exactly one nice shirt and one pair of dress pants that Rosa had bought him for his parents' funeral. He hoped they still fit. The next morning, Marcus woke up to find reporters already gathering outside his apartment building. Rosa peeked through the curtains and shook her head. "This is crazy," she said. "Yesterday, we were just regular people." Marcus put on his dress clothes and the David's Dream hoodie that Elon had given him. Rosa fixed his collar and smoothed down his hair like she used to when he was little. "Remember who you are," she told him. "Don't let all this fame change the good boy I raised." A black SUV arrived to take Marcus and Rosa to the SpaceX facility. Phoenix and Zoe met them there, along with 10 other families from East Austin that Elon's team had contacted overnight. The SpaceX building was huge and modern, nothing like the small houses and corner stores of Marcus's neighborhood. Inside, engineers in white coats worked on rocket parts that looked like they belonged in a science fiction movie. Elon greeted Marcus in a conference room filled with reporters and cameras. "Ready for this?" Marcus nodded, even though his stomach was full of butterflies. The press conference was held in a large room with a SpaceX rocket model behind the podium. Elon spoke first, explaining the David Johnson Memorial Space Education program to the gathered media. This program will provide full college scholarships to students from underserved communities who show exceptional promise in science and engineering, Elon announced. But more importantly, it will create a pipeline of opportunity that currently doesn't exist. Then it was Marcus's turn to speak. He walked to the podium and looked out at all the cameras and reporters. For a moment, he felt overwhelmed. But then, he saw Rosa in the front row, giving him an encouraging nod. He thought about his father and all the students David had tried to inspire. "My dad always told his students that space exploration wasn't just for rich kids or people from fancy schools," Marcus began. "He said the universe belongs to everyone who's brave enough to reach for it." His voice got stronger as he continued. "This program isn't charity. It's recognition that talent exists everywhere, but opportunity doesn't. We're going to change that." After the press conference, Marcus spent the day touring the SpaceX facility with the other selected students. They saw rockets being built, satellites being tested, and engineers solving problems that seemed impossible. Zoe was fascinated by everything. She asked so many questions that one of the engineers joked about hiring her on the spot. "This is what I want to do," she whispered to Marcus as they watched a rocket engine test. "I want to build things that go to space. Then we'll make sure you get the chance," Marcus replied. But that evening, reality hit Marcus hard. Back home in his small room, he opened his math textbook and realized how much catching up he had to do. His grades had slipped badly after his parents died. If he was going to succeed in this program, he needed to work harder than he ever had before. Rosa found him at his desk at 11 p.m., struggling with algebra problems. "What's wrong, mijo?" "What if I'm not smart enough?" Marcus asked. "What if Elon made a mistake choosing me? These other kids seem to know so much more than I do." Rosa sat on his bed and was quiet for a moment. "Your father had the same doubts when he first started teaching. He thought he wasn't good enough to inspire students." "Really?" "He told me that teaching wasn't about being the smartest person in the room. It was about caring enough to help others learn and grow." She pointed to the acceptance letter on his desk. "Elon didn't choose you because you already know everything. He chose you because you have the heart to help others succeed." Over the next few weeks, Marcus threw himself into his studies. Phoenix helped him with English. Rosa hired a neighbor who was a college student to tutor him in math and science. Zoe, despite being younger, was actually better at physics than Marcus and helped explain difficult concepts. The other kids in the program became like family. They studied together, supported each other, and shared their dreams of working in space exploration. But Marcus also faced challenges he hadn't expected. Some kids at school were jealous of his sudden success. They accused him of only getting the scholarship because he had gotten lucky, not because he deserved it. "You're not special," one classmate told him. "You just happened to be in the right place at the right time." Comments like that hurt, but they also motivated Marcus to work even harder. He wanted to prove that Elon's faith in him was justified. 3 months after the rap battle, Marcus received his first report card since joining the program. He had raised his GPA from 2.1 to 3.4. It wasn't perfect, but it was progress. More importantly, the David Johnson Memorial Program was growing. Other tech companies in Austin had joined the initiative. More students were being added. Local high schools were updating their science curricula. Marcus started a YouTube channel where he used rap to teach physics and math concepts. His first video about rocket science got 50,000 views in 1 week. Comments came from students around the world who said his videos were helping them understand difficult concepts. "Your dad would be so proud," Phoenix told him after watching his latest video. "You're reaching kids he never could have imagined." But the biggest test was still coming. In 6 months, Marcus would need to choose a college and prove he was ready. For advanced engineering courses, The pressure was enormous. One evening, Marcus was studying when Elon called him personally. "How are you holding up?" Elon asked. "Some days are harder than others," Marcus admitted. "Sometimes I wonder if I'm really cut out for this." "You know what I've learned," Elon said. "The people who change the world aren't necessarily the smartest ones. They're the ones who refuse to give up when things get difficult." He paused. "Your father understood that. That's why his application stood out to me. He wasn't just teaching physics. He was teaching perseverance." After the call, Marcus felt renewed energy. He looked at the photo of his family at the SpaceX launch and made a promise to himself and to his father's memory. He was going to succeed, not just for himself, but for every kid who needed to see that dreams really could come true with hard work and opportunity. The real challenge wasn't the rap battle. It was proving every single day that he deserved the chance he had been given. And Marcus was determined to meet that challenge. 6 months after the rap battle, Marcus stood in front of his high school graduation class as the valedictorian. His GPA had climbed to 3.8, and he had been accepted to MIT with a full scholarship through the David Johnson Memorial Program. Rosa sat in the front row, wearing a new dress that Marcus had bought her with money from his YouTube channel. Next to her, Phoenix wiped away tears as Marcus gave his graduation speech. "A year ago, I thought my biggest problem was helping my grandmother pay for groceries," Marcus said into the microphone. "I never imagined I would be standing here today, heading to one of the best engineering schools in the country." The audience included not just his classmates and their families, but also representatives from SpaceX, local tech companies, and news reporters who had been following his story. "But this moment isn't just about me," Marcus continued. "It's about proving that talent exists in every neighborhood, every family, every kid who's ever looked up at the stars and wondered if they belonged there." In the audience, Zoe sat with the other 9 students from the original David Johnson Memorial Program. All of them had improved their grades dramatically. 3 were headed to engineering programs at major universities. The others were continuing the program through high school with guaranteed college scholarships waiting. The program had grown beyond what anyone had imagined. 12 major tech companies in Austin were now part of the initiative. Over 200 students from underserved communities were receiving tutoring, mentoring, and educational support. Marcus's YouTube channel had over 500,000 subscribers from around the world. After graduation, Marcus spent the summer working at the SpaceX facility. He wasn't just observing anymore, he was actually helping design educational materials for the program. His rap videos explaining rocket science were being used in schools across the country. "You've become exactly what your father envisioned," Elon told Marcus during one of their weekly meetings. "A bridge between complex science and young minds who need inspiration." The most meaningful part of Marcus's summer was working with the newest group of program participants. Every week, he and Zoe visited middle schools in East Austin, talking to kids who reminded him of himself just 1 year earlier. "The hardest part isn't the math or science," Marcus would tell them. "It's believing you deserve to be here. But you do. Your dreams matter just as much as anyone else's." One afternoon, Marcus was working in the SpaceX lab when Elon appeared with a special visitor, Dr. Sarah Chen, the director of NASA's educational outreach programs. "Marcus," Elon said, "Dr. Chen has a proposition for you." Dr. Chen shook Marcus's hand. "We've been watching what you've accomplished here in Austin. NASA wants to expand the David Johnson Memorial Program nationwide. We'd like you to help us design it." Marcus was stunned. "You want me to help NASA?" "Your father's vision was bigger than just one city," Dr. Chen explained. "We want to create David Johnson programs in every state, reaching students who have never considered careers in space exploration. What would I have to do? Finish your degree at MIT, but spend your summers working with us to develop curriculum and training materials. After graduation, you'd have a full-time position with NASA, helping us reach underserved communities across the country. Marcus thought about his father, who had dreamed of inspiring students but had only been able to reach a few hundred in his lifetime. This opportunity could help inspire millions. I accept, Marcus said without hesitation. That evening, Marcus called Rosa with the news. She was at her new job, a much better position at a medical clinic that she had been able to take thanks to her improved health and reduced financial stress. "NASA, mijo," she said, her voice full of pride. "Your father would be so amazed." "I wish he could see all this," Marcus said. "He can," Rosa replied. "Every time you help another kid believe in themselves, your father sees it." A week before Marcus left for MIT, the community held a farewell celebration at the same community center where he used to perform at open mic nights. The difference was incredible. What used to be a small, struggling facility was now a thriving educational hub with new computers, science equipment, and study rooms funded by the David Johnson Memorial Program. Phoenix took the stage first. A year ago, Marcus challenged Elon Musk to a rap battle. Tonight, we're celebrating something much bigger. Proof that one moment of courage can change an entire community. Marcus performed one last rap for his neighborhood, but this time he wasn't alone. Zoe and the other program participants joined him on stage, each sharing their dreams and goals. "We started with one voice," Marcus rapped. "Now we're a chorus of hope. From East Austin to everywhere, teaching kids how to cope. With challenges and obstacles, showing them the way, that anyone can reach the stars if they work every day." The audience cheered as Zoe stepped forward for her verse. At 13, she was already designing rocket components in her spare time and had been accepted into a special high school engineering program. Marcus showed us the path. Now we're walking it too, building rockets and dreams, making something new. The girl from the hood with equations in her head, proving that our futures aren't limited by where we're bred. After the performance, Marcus spent time talking with the newest group of kids entering the program. They were shy at first, unsure if they really belonged in a world of rockets and space exploration. "I was scared too," Marcus told them. "I thought smart kids were supposed to look different, come from different places. But intelligence isn't about where you're from. It's about how hard you're willing to work to reach your goals." As the celebration wound down, Marcus walked through his old neighborhood one last time before leaving for MIT. The streets looked the same, but something had changed. Kids were talking about math and science instead of just sports and music. Parents were encouraging their children to consider college and careers they had never imagined before. Marcus stopped in front of his old apartment. Rosa was inside packing his things for MIT. In a few days, he would be living in a dorm room in Massachusetts, surrounded by students from around the world. He pulled out his phone and looked at a text from Elon. "Ready for the next adventure? Remember, this is just the beginning." Marcus smiled and typed back, "Ready." Dad would be proud of how far we've come. But Marcus knew his father would be most proud of what came next. The work still to be done. The kids still to be inspired. The communities still to be transformed. As he walked back to his apartment, Marcus looked up at the stars. They seemed closer now, more reachable. Not just for him, but for every kid who had ever dared to dream big. The shy teenager who had challenged Elon Musk to a rap battle was gone. In his place was a young man ready to change the world, one student at a time. Tomorrow would bring new challenges at MIT, But tonight, Marcus was exactly where he belonged, in the community that had raised him, surrounded by the people who had supported his dreams, planning for a future that would honor his father's memory by helping others reach for the stars. The real work was just beginning, and Marcus couldn't wait to get started. 2 years later, Marcus stood in the mission control room at SpaceX, watching the final preparations for a very special rocket launch. He was now a junior at MIT, but today he was here as part of his NASA internship program. Rosa sat in the viewing area with Phoenix and Zoe, who was now 15 and already taking college-level engineering courses. The David Johnson Memorial Program had grown to include over 2,000 students across 30 states. "T-minus 5 minutes, the voice over the intercom announced. Elon walked up to Marcus, both of them wearing matching SpaceX jackets. "Are you ready for this?" Marcus nodded, though his heart was racing with excitement. Today's launch was carrying something very special into space, a small satellite that Marcus had helped design during his summer internship. "Tell me again what's on board," Elon said with a smile. He knew the answer, but he wanted Marcus to say it out loud. "The satellite is called David's Dream," Marcus explained. "It carries a digital library of educational materials from the Memorial Program. But the most important part is the playlist." Marcus had spent months creating something unique: educational rap songs that taught physics, chemistry, and engineering concepts. The satellite would broadcast these songs to schools around the world, reaching students in languages including English, Spanish, Mandarin, and Arabic. "Your father's dream of bringing space science to every student is literally about to orbit the Earth," Elon said. T-minus 2 minutes. Marcus looked through the window at the Falcon Heavy rocket on the launch pad. 2 years ago, he had been a struggling high school student worried about his grandmother's medical bills. Now he was watching his own work prepare to go into space. His phone buzzed with a text from one of his YouTube followers. "Marcus, I just got accepted to engineering school because your videos helped me pass calculus. Thank you for not giving up on kids like us." Messages like that came every day now. Marcus's educational rap videos had been viewed over 50 million times. Teachers around the world used them in their classrooms. Most importantly, kids who had never seen themselves as science types were starting to believe they could be engineers and astronauts. T-minus 30 seconds. Through the viewing window, Marcus could see Rosa pointing excitedly at the rocket. She was healthier and happier than she had been in years. Her diabetes was well controlled thanks to excellent medical care, and she had moved into a beautiful new apartment that Marcus helped her afford with his YouTube earnings. Phoenix had also transformed her life. She now worked full-time as a program coordinator for the David Johnson Memorial Initiative, traveling to schools and community centers to identify talented students who needed support. Her daughter Zoe had become Marcus's protege and was already being recruited by top engineering programs. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift off! The Falcon Heavy rocket roared to life, climbing into the clear blue sky above Austin. Marcus watched his father's dream literally reach for the stars, carried by the satellite he had helped create. As the rocket disappeared from view, Marcus felt a hand on his shoulder. It was Dr. Chen from NASA. "Phase 1 complete," she said. "Are you ready for Phase 2? Marcus had been waiting for this moment. Dr. Chen had hinted that NASA had something big planned for him, but she had kept the details secret. "What's Phase 2? Marcus asked. "Next month, NASA is announcing a new mission to establish a permanent educational research station on the Moon. We want to create a facility where students from around the world can conduct experiments in low, Gravity. Marcus's eyes widened. This sounded like science fiction. The best part, Dr. Chen continued, is that we want the first group of student researchers to come from the David Johnson Memorial Program. Kids from underserved communities who have shown exceptional promise in science and engineering. You mean, that's right, Zoe and 9 other students from your program could be among the first teenagers to do research on the moon. Marcus felt dizzy with excitement. His father had dreamed of inspiring students to reach for the stars. Now, those same students might actually walk on another world. There's just one catch, Dr. Chen said, with a mysterious smile. We need someone to lead the educational outreach for this mission. Someone who understands both the science and how to inspire young people. Someone who can bridge the gap between rocket ships and rap music. Marcus realized what she was offering. You want me to work for NASA? After you graduate from MIT, we want you to become the Director of Youth Space Education for NASA. You would oversee all educational programs and help select the students who get to participate in lunar research. Marcus looked out at the sky where David's dream satellite was now orbiting the Earth. In 3 years, he had gone from challenging Elon Musk to a rap battle to being offered a leadership position with NASA. But more importantly, his father's vision was becoming reality on a scale that neither of them had ever imagined. I accept, Marcus said. That evening, the SpaceX facility hosted a celebration dinner for everyone involved in the launch. Marcus sat at a table with Rosa, Phoenix, Zoe, and the original 10 students from the David Johnson Memorial Program. Look, how far we've all come, Phoenix said, raising her glass of sparkling cider. Marcus, remember when you were just a scared kid writing rap lyrics in your bedroom? I remember being scared he was going to embarrass himself at that rap battle, Rosa added with a laugh. Now, my grandson is sending satellites into space. Zoe, who had grown into a confident young woman with dreams of becoming an aerospace engineer, stood up to make a toast. 2 years ago, Marcus showed us that one moment of courage can change everything. He challenged someone way more powerful than him because he believed our dreams mattered. Tonight, we celebrate not just a satellite launch, but proof that kids from East Austin really can reach the stars. Everyone raised their glasses as Zoe continued. But the most important thing Marcus taught us is that success isn't just about achieving your own dreams. It's about making sure other people get the chance to achieve theirs too. As the celebration continued around him, Marcus stepped outside onto a balcony overlooking the SpaceX facility. The same rockets and satellites he had dreamed about as a child were now part of his daily life. His phone rang. It was a video call from a group of middle school students in Detroit who were part of the newest David Johnson Memorial Program location. Marcus! The students called out excitedly. We watched the launch. When are you coming to visit our school? Next month, Marcus promised, and I'm bringing some special guests with me. After the call ended, Marcus looked up at the night sky. Somewhere up there, David's dream was beginning its mission to inspire students around the world. His father's lesson plans and Marcus's educational rap songs were now literally among the stars. Marcus pulled out his phone and opened the voice memo app. He had been working on a new song, one that told the complete story of the last 2 years. Started with a challenge, just a kid with a dream, he rapped quietly to himself. Now we're changing the world. Nothing's quite what it seems. From the hood to the cosmos, showing kids they belong, teaching them that their voices can be part of the song. He paused, thinking about all the students who were now part of the program. All the kids who were starting to believe in themselves, because someone had believed in them first. Dad, you always said that space exploration belongs to everyone, Marcus whispered to the stars. Tomorrow, we start proving you were right. In 6 months, Marcus would graduate from MIT at the top of his class. The following month, he would begin his new job at NASA, becoming the youngest director in the agency's history. But tonight, he was just a young man from East Austin who had learned that sometimes the biggest dreams come true when you're brave enough to speak up for what you believe in. The satellite carrying his father's dreams continued its orbit above, broadcasting hope and possibility to every corner of the Earth, proving that inspiration really could change everything. We'd love to know where you're listening from. Drop a comment below and tell us your city or country. Are there any young dreamers in your community who need to hear this story? If this story moved you, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for many more inspiring stories like this one. We share real tales of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Most importantly, please share this video with your friends and family. Stories like Marcus's remind us that kindness, courage, and believing in others can literally change the world. The more people who hear about the power of supporting young dreamers, the more Marcus Johnsons we might discover in our own communities. Thank you for listening, and remember, you never know when your own moment of courage might change everything.